Good morning. Welcome to Children's Worship. I'm so excited to be with you today because today is our Leap of Faith ritual. And that is that our fifth graders who have been with us for many years will be leaping out of the Workshop Adventure program into their junior youth years here at church. And so today marks an important turning in their spiritual lives. And we get to hear from them in terms of their wisdom, and they'll be leading most of the worship today. So I'm just so excited to be sharing this with you and with them and their families. Our worship theme today is, for the month of June, what does it mean to be called as Unitarian Universalists to be opening doors? And today we're focusing on, what is it? When you make a promise to someone, how is that promise opening the door to other things that express our values? So it's really about commitment and promise today, especially with our fifth graders and this celebration of Unitarian Universalism. So we're going to begin with a song, singing to the power of all the things within us. And I'll sing the first verse, and then I'm going to have Mark lead us in the second and third verse. So the first verse is going to be love, and then we're going to do friendship and hope. Are you ready? Here we go. Sing to the power of the love within. Sing to the power of the love within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the love within. Now, Mark.
Sing to the power of the friendship within. Sing to the power of the friendship within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the friendship within. Sing to the power of the hope within. Sing to the power of the hope within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the hope within.
Our chalice lighting today is by Miles, and followed by Will with the movements. Here they are.
Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather together to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
For our mindfulness practice today, I wanted to focus on this place we call home in ourselves. It could be a place like here beside the water. It could be a place that you know from a long time ago, or a place now like in the home that you're in. But this returning home that we have is, in a way, a promise to ourselves that we will continue to nurture all that is good and known in us by returning to a place of promise and nurture for ourselves. So it's important, whether you're 5 or 105, that you can find this kind of nurture in yourself. And maybe it's in your imaginal life, like in your imagination, or maybe it's a place where you get to go, like I'm here at the lake. So our mindfulness practice today will be to, in your mind's eye, or if you're actually in a space that feels really homey and sweet, to just be able to rest in home. And the promise of that is a promise that is so ancient in all of us. It's a spiritual need we have. And so I'm just going to invite you to take a couple deep breaths, breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And I would invite you to continue to breathe while Ada plays this song for us. It is a song by Pauline Johnson, and she is a Mohawk Indian who, across these waters, used to live in Canada. The song is about returning to the land of the silver birch, and that's a kind of tree which is very beautiful. And the words are, "The land of the silver birch, home of the beaver, where still the mighty moose wanders at will. Blue lake and rocky shores, I will return again more. High on a rock ledge, I'll build my wigwam, close by the water's edge, silent and still. Blue lake and rocky shores, I will return once more." It's such a beautiful song. And let's just take some deep breaths while we listen to her piano music. Breathing in and breathing out. The moment of inquiry today is really about, what does it mean to practice a promise? So just because you say a promise or you make a promise or an agreement with someone, that's one thing. But what does it mean to practice a promise? And that means to fulfill it, to actually do the thing, right? So here are some of our fifth graders who are going to answer this moment of inquiry. They're going to be giving witness to the places where they affirm and promote a principle of ours and how they do it. Here they are.
One way I lived the UU principle was I went to a Black Lives Matter protest with a bunch of friends and family, and I believe Black Lives Matter.
I practice the second principle, which is justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. I believe that every person should be treated kindly. I treat everyone the way I want to be treated. And just because someone doesn't look exactly like you doesn't mean you should treat them unfairly. And that is how I practice the second principle.
I took part in a Black Lives Matter protest because I believe in a world with peace, liberty, and justice for all.
One UU principle that I follow is respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. We use a clothesline in summer instead of the dryer. This saves electricity and natural gas. We purchase clothing from thrift stores instead of first-hand. We also pull weeds instead of using pesticides. This is important to me because we all need to work together to take care of Earth.
Try to practice a free and responsible search for truth and meaning by reading in my spare time so that I can learn more about history and people.
Because of the world today, it's important to remember the inherent worth and dignity of Black people, considering all the racism going on right now, and that Black Lives Matter.
The UU principles that I try to uphold most in my daily life are the first and second principles. The first is honoring the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and the second is justice, equity, and compassion. In my life, I try to treat people with respect and care for their needs. Some ways I've done this at church are by helping bring meals to families staying at church for rain and packing bags of food at FoodLink. Yesterday, me and my family went to a Black Lives Matter protest to stand up against racism. I've learned about how to do these things and with my with my words and actions to help others during my time at RE at church.
I chose the seventh principle. The respect for the interdependent web of all existence which we are a part of.
How do you put that into practice?
I'm composting. I'm making compost and helping a dying tree live.
Our story today is an ancient myth called Damon and Pythias, and it's about two friends and a promise. Here is Leon and his mom telling it.
Damon and Pythias. A young man, whose name was Pythias, had done something which the tyrant Dionysius did not like. For this offense he was dragged to prison, and the day was set when he should be put to death. His home was far away, and he wanted very much to see his father, mother, and friends before he died. "Only give me leave to go home and say goodbye to those whom I love," he said, "and then I will come back and give up my life." The tyrant laughed at him. "How can I know that you will keep your promise?" he said. "You only want to cheat me, to save yourself." Then a young man whose name was Damon spoke and said, "O king, put me in prison in place of my friend Pythias, and let him go to his own country to put his affairs in order, and to bid his friends farewell. I know that he will come back as he promised, for he is a man who has never broken his word. But if he is not here on the day which you have set, then I will die in his stead." The tyrant was surprised that anybody should make such an offer. He at last agreed to let Pythias go, and gave orders that the young man Damon should be shut up in prison. Time passed, and by the day drew near which had been set for Pythias to die, and he had not come back. The tyrant ordered the jailer to keep close watch upon Damon and not let him escape. But Damon did not try to escape. He still had faith in the truth and honor of his friend. He said, "If Pythias does not come back in time, it will not be his fault. It will be because he is hindered against his will." At last the day came, and then the very hour. Damon was ready to die. His trust in his friend was as firm as ever, and he said that he did not grieve at having to suffer for one whom he loved so much. Then the jailer came to lead him to his death, but at the same moment Pythias stood in the door. He had been delayed by storms and shipwreck, and he had feared that he was too late. He greeted Damon kindly, and then gave himself into the hands of the jailer. He was happy because he thought that he had come in time, even though it was at the last moment. The tyrant was not so bad, but that he could see good in others. He felt that men who loved and trusted each other, as did Damon and Pythias, ought not to suffer unjustly, and so he set them both free. "I would give all my wealth to have one such friend," he said.
And that is the end of the story. I'm wondering what you think that story has to teach or remind us about, especially about Unitarian Universalism as a promise and this idea of making agreements with each other to practice things together. Here's what Josh had to say.
What I learned from this story was that you should always value your friend's word and trust them. And it connected with the second UU principle, that showing compassion in justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Because of the compassion between Damon and Pythias, the tyrant actually respected that compassion in her friendship and said that he would give his riches for a friend like that.
Right, when we practice our principles very clearly, we sometimes will inspire other people to have so much more love and compassion just by the example of that love and compassion in the world. So that's one takeaway for me, that our values in expression can open a door for someone else. It's really awesome. I love that power of our faith. And the other thing is something else I love about our tradition, which is a steadfast love. That means a love that doesn't end easily, right? That Damon did not give up hope. He did not give up faith, that he stayed true to what his initial promise was. And he didn't waver in that, even to the very moment. I guess he could have used his mindfulness practice right there, right? He could have been breathing and just reassuring that, his friend would come back. His friend would come back. And if he didn't, then he knew it wasn't because of malice or anything else, So to have trust, and trust is really the foundation of making a promise that you not only say that you will do something, but that you fulfill it. And that's what our principles are all about. It's not just we say we value the inherent worth and dignity of someone. We actually need to do it in order to be that. So, yes. On that note, I'd like for us to just celebrate the ways that are in our families that we have connection, that we honor each other, that we make commitments to each other in our homes, and that we stand with each other, or that means not physically stand with each other, but our hearts are beside each other. Yeah. And so here is Zia and her mom, EJ, and they are going to do our family connection piece today. And that is just to celebrate. So you can dance, you can hug, you can do whatever you want to this song that they're going to lead us in. Here they are. Remember to celebrate the doors that commitment can open.
1, 2, 3. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, oh, I won't be afraid, no, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, all the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me.
And now, here is the 2019-2020 group of fifth graders leaping into the junior high program.
Thank you to all our RE travelers and workshop leaders. Though we're not able to spend all of the past year in person, it was encouraging to see everybody online over the past 3 months during these difficult times. We will go now in peace to the Spiritual Survivor Program. Bye now, and love from church.